Good morning. If you've just woken up, this is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's Expresso, and let's chat about something that I think we don't know too much about. I think you just hear it on movies and TV, but no one actually gets into the nitty-gritty. Now, if you've ever wondered how to manage lactose intolerance, yes, you've heard about it, without giving up your favorite dairy treats, let's find out how. We're joined by registered dietitian and nutrition expert Catherine Day, who will shed light on lactose intolerance and how to navigate it with ease. Hello, Catherine.
Hi.
So, lactose intolerance, we hear it in the movies all the time, you know? It's like, no, don't give it to me, and the guy explodes, you know, after drinking milk.
Totally.
It's a very, very vague understanding for lactose intolerance, but I think let's give it a step-by-step as to what it is, just to start off as a baseline.
Sure, so basically lactose intolerance is when people have a deficiency of an enzyme called lactase. And lactase basically helps your body break down lactose, which is milk sugar. And so, you need enough lactase to be able to break down the lactose.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you get those really nasty effects like what you've just mentioned.
Yes.
Also nausea, bloating, abdominal pain. It's not great. Flatulence, another one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the movie stuff, you know, the vague things that you always see all the time. But
Yes.
naturally, people live with this every single day and are managing lactose intolerance. I think with what you have just mentioned, it seems so unfair that somebody can't have the benefits of dairy. So managing it is going to be very, very paramount to actually living a normal life and making sure that you're comfortable. So what is the first thing to consider when people are trying to manage lactose intolerance?
So yes, it's definitely about quality of life. You don't want those ill effects every day.
Yeah.
So the sort of dietary treatment would be to take the lactose away, which, you know, does sometimes for some people mean taking all dairy away.
Yeah.
But luckily, we don't have to do that anymore. Nowadays, there's a much greater availability of lactose-free dairy, which basically they put lactase, which is the enzyme that you're sort of deficient in, into the milk, and that enzyme basically eats up the milk sugar for you. So it's doing its job for you. And so, you can still enjoy some dairy products if you do, or if you're able to buy these lactose-free milk products.
Okay, it's a game changer, you know, to think about that. It really is, because you don't want to just live without those things. You want to live a normal sort of life. You want to cook like the way you cook, eat the way you eat. But of course, we have to manage it. But I know that a lot of people they have a knee-jerk reaction. When they hear, I'm lactose intolerant, cutting out dairy completely, cheers, goodbye. So what are some of the common mistakes when somebody is cutting lactose completely out of their diet, so to speak?
Yeah, so you do tend to cut dairy out, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
And then what happens is a lot of people sometimes go for the plant-based milks as a good alternative.
Yes.
And it can be a good alternative. However, you know, milk it's milk. There's nothing else in milk. It comes straight from, you know, a cow or wherever you're getting it from. And so it is very unprocessed.
Yeah.
Whereas with the plant-based milk, some of them do tend to have up to 11 different ingredients. So they are more processed. And in those 11 different ingredients, they don't actually have as much protein. And they do tend to sometimes lack calcium. So depending on what plant milk you choose, they may not actually put calcium back into the milk. So those are the two very big ones. So, you know, you do have to make sure that if you are taking dairy out, that you're aware of these changes.
Okay.
Because protein can be a very important nutrient in your daily eating.
So just as an anecdote, you'd recommend that if somebody is indeed lactose intolerant, that they need to start thinking about the things that they are going to lack if they remove dairy out of their diet, including, as you mentioned, calcium, which is paramount to anybody, right?
So important in women's health, which is, you know, what we are all talking about this August. Okay,
this is fantastic to hear. Now, when it comes to lactose-free options, incorporating them into your meals, I think when you think this is lactose free, you look at it differently. I think you kind of think this is not going to be as thick and rich and creamy as I'm not going to be able to add it to my diet. So what are some of the building blocks to adding lactose-free alternatives into your diet?
So, you know, nowadays they're far more available than they used to be, let's say 10 years ago, which is first a great thing. And the other thing, you know, there are some really nice, easy options to do in the kitchen, especially for breakfast, like overnight oats. You can prep this the night before, you know, put some lactose-free milk with your oats if you're struggling with milk. And you can also do a chia pudding which is really nice. It's a different take on breakfast, but a lot of people are enjoying it because you can put some fruit compote in to make it naturally sweeter.
Yes.
And then you could also do a smoothie, which I think is most people's go-to in summer, maybe. But those are all quick, easy hacks where you would have used normal cow's milk, you just used the lactose-free option. Some people do say that the lactose-free option does tend to be slightly sweeter, but nutritionally, the only thing they add is that lactase enzyme. So there's actually no difference per se. It's just that the lactase enzyme has eaten up the milk sugar for you.
Well, that makes sense, though. Lactase is in there. Milk sugar is getting removed and eaten up, which means, I suppose, on caloric intake, it may just, be something a bit less than natural, going that way, which is interesting in terms of dietary. But just in terms of, just to wrap it up, for anybody who is lactose intolerant, I think maybe let's start off at a little fact that they need to know before they start their new journey lactose-free.
So most people who are lactose intolerant can still handle up to 12 grams of lactose a day. So that would be 250 mils of milk,
yes,
but spread throughout the day. So some people who really struggle with milk tend to be okay with milk in, let's say, tea or coffee, but you put an ice cream in front of them and that is tickets kind of thing. So it is important to still sometimes expose your gut to a little bit of lactose because if you take it completely away, you tend to lose all ability to be able to even digest that.
Okay.
So something around training your gut, we think is still there. And if you include it slowly, and there's a lovely saying that says, start low, go slow, then grow. If you include it in small amounts, you can actually train your gut to still have a little bit of lactose in your diet. But obviously, if you've got severe lactose intolerance, then the much better route is going the lactose-free way.
Catherine, you've been fantastic today. Thank you. You've shown that lactose intolerance is not the end. It's a new journey.
It's just a swap, right?
It is indeed. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. If you are lactose intolerant, I hope that helped you. If you experience bloating or nausea after consuming dairy, you might be lactose intolerant. CLOVER NOLAC is here to help you understand your body better. So simply scan the QR code and take the quick and easy test to find out if you are lactose intolerant. It's the first step toward enjoying dairy without discomfort. To get an official diagnosis, please visit a doctor or registered dietitian today.